Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to. This is an episode. This is just like a, I don't know, little update, highlight. I'm Travis Snail, Clown Prince Fantastics. I'm joined by.
I'm fantastic news.
I'm the fantastic. That's the
There
best
you
I can do
go.
at 11:13 p.m.
Yeah, we're doing a quick one because we're not going to have any newscast next week. We'll also recording, but some big news. So let's talk about this quickly, give our little opinion. So everything you know is down below. Not going to give the full plugs. We just did Bad and Web. Make sure you check that out. But we got our official, some of this had been rumored, but we got our official our official Fantastic Four cast. Reed Richards is going to be played by Pedro Pascal. Vanessa Kirby's going to be playing Sue Richards. No, Sue Storm, not Sue Richards. Johnny Storm will be played by Joseph Quinn. Again, 11:13 after a Man Web review. And then Eben Moss Baccarin is going to be playing The Thing, Ben Grimm. We also learned, which I will have a follow-up question for something else, that this is going to be coming out July 25th. So it's moved back. Thunderbolts, which was in December of next year, is now in that May slot. So Dylan, what do you think about some of these come-ups? And were you surprised? This is the other thing too. Were you surprised this is how it happened? Because we've heard rumors with a lot of these, but a lot of people thought, oh, the wait till Comic-Con, the wait till D23, just drop some poster, which I guess I can also throw in the question to you that it confirms it's in the 60s.
Yeah,
We don't know, because another part of that rumor was
Or
it
at
was the
least starts in
60s.
60s.
Yeah, somewhere in the 60s. We don't know if it's MCU 60s or alternate universe 60s. There's been like iffy rumors on both of saying it's our timeline and not our timeline. So what do you think about all that? And just even the announcement of like they just posted a poster
Yeah.
on Valentine's morning, like, hey, here they are.
That was surprising to me, and I'm wondering why that is. I don't really have a theory because we don't really have anything MCU coming out soon until like Deadpool, which is near Comic-Con time. So I don't really have a theory for that, but. So Pedro Pascal was already confirmed, right? Like that wasn't just like high rumors. That was like
Nothing's
officially confirmed.
that was A tier stuff. No one's been
Okay.
confirmed till today. This was the
so
official
in my mind,
confirming.
That one was officially confirmed.
Yeah.
And I know all these names have floated around, and I swear we even talked about these four being the cast at some point. I mean, all of our other rumors have always been like, oh, here are the 2 or 3 people running, but I think we've had all these names, so I've thought on them before. And I think it's really great. I think if you probably go back to our cast when we first talked about Pedro, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I probably would have said something along lines of I wouldn't have thought of him for it, and I don't necessarily see it immediately, but he's just so good that I think it's a great get for Marvel, and I think he can do it, and I'm excited to see him do something different than what I've seen him do before too. So that's great. Vanessa, and then honestly for the next 3, like I don't really have a lot of personal experience with them as actors. Like I've seen all of them in like maybe 1 or 2 things, like in minor roles. But from everything, I feel like we've been talking about Vanessa Kirby for years on the podcast and the drafts and all of the plays, fan cast. Like she's always coming up, so I feel like she feels like an old friend. In that
Part
way.
of the family.
And then the other 2. I hear such great things from everyone about them. So I think it's a pretty solid list, and I'm very excited for it. I really like the poster. I like the tone that we got for it. Not necessarily that's what the movie's going to look like or anything, but not necessarily just the time confirmation. I don't know if I care so much about that, but just the general vibe of it. I'm into it. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this news, I would say.
And do you think Thunderbolts being in May is a better December slot or better than December? Because I feel like we've talked about that a few times where we're all kind of like Christmas movie, that like family vibes. Is Thunderbolts that movie where it's a bunch of bad guys together as a team? I don't know if that has the same effect like a Wonka or something. Like I feel like Christmas is more that Avatar fun adventure, where I'm not saying Thunderbolts wasn't a fun adventure, but I just feel like that's a harder sell during Christmas. I feel like May is a better time for it.
I think I kind of forgot about the Christmas thing because I feel like for years it was in that summer slot, and that's where in my mind it was still there. So I kind of forgot about that until it came up that this was going to be in that July slot. So this is May of 2025.
Yeah. So right now, if all goes to plan,
yet, right?
It's starting to film right now. As if it goes to plan,
they just cast the villain finally, right? So that was the
yes,
last
they did.
piece they needed.
Yeah. Okay. So it's gonna go Cap 4 in February, Thunderbolts in May, this in July, supposedly Blade in November. So they're sticking with the 4, but I don't think Blade's gonna make it though. I think Blade is just like we have this placeholder.
put Blade off the slate. And you're good to
Yeah.
go. That seems to be the
I
thing.
think Blade's going to be a February
Yeah,
2026
I mean,
movie.
I guess it feels a bit like Whiplash since we're only getting one MCU movie this year, and it's even like
Yep.
kind of in a weird slot because it's the Deadpool thing.
Mhm.
But I guess that makes sense if your timings just weren't quite right this year, so you're probably gonna have more things in the next year. So obviously there's always those concerns of like them overdoing it with how many things there are and rushing things and CGI and all these concerns. But man, if that is correct and we get those 4, holy shit, that's gonna be a hype year for me personally. I'm
Yeah.
very interested in all of those projects, so that's gonna be pretty sweet. Who even needs Disney Plus shows at that point? Like, oh, just give me those 4 movies. Like, let's go. So,
Yeah.
no, that Thunderbolts. I mean, it moved up, I guess. So I'm happy. Well, was it supposed to be this December? Are you saying?
No, next year. Next
Yeah.
year.
So it
yeah,
moved
yeah.
up. So I'm happy about that.
Moved up a lot, really, when
Yeah,
you think
big
about it.
time.
That's a big jump. But they are filming now, so it's like a year of production if it all goes well, right? So,
Yeah.
what about you, Kirkland? Happy with these? I will mention, like Dill mentioned, you and me both
Yeah.
got a point superhero draft. You got a point for Joseph Quinn.
my
I got a
boy.
point for Vanessa Kirby after keeping her for like 3-4 years. It finally paid off. So
It's satisfying when you
Yeah.
get one, and we both got one in the same instance here, so that's fun. We can celebrate together.
yeah,
I'm just really pumped with this cast. Like I think all 4 of these characters are great. I have some experience with all of them, and I just like seeing them on the poster. It just really fits. Even what's his name, Eben Moss. Like just him
Yeah.
as the Thing. It's clobbering time. Like I'm down. This guy could clobber things. So I also really like the overall aesthetic of just like the poster that they showed, and just the fact that it is just like a somewhat of a shadow drop, like just on Valentine's Day, like just get it out there.
do you have any merit to the theory?
Unsettled.
Do you give any?
I think they're trying to
award-
get ahead of leaks. I feel like because they are.
Well,
ready-
they're not there now. We already knew a lot of these, right?
What do you mean?
Like we already talked. Like Dylan said, we talked about a lot of these, right? So it's like if they're trying to get ahead of leaks, it's like, well, we know, like they're
But just,
behind
like,
already, you know.
I don't know. I feel like the way that they had it just ready to go in the barrel. Like if they waited longer, they just I don't know. Like the overall look of it maybe would have been released. I don't know.
Do you give any
just seems
credence
like they're
to?
trying to.
There's
They're
a
probably
theory.
filming prior to Comic-Con though. Maybe is that the thing?
No, they're filming either during or after Comic-Con. It's supposed to be like July, August. So they might not be filming till after Comic-Con because they all got busy schedules. So
Maybe they're just really they're really pumped and really
you-
confident, and maybe it's like MCU hasn't
Well,
been in the
that's
best
thing, like, once
spot. This is
you're
going to
on the
boost
lot
morale.
Filming, then it's gonna get out there. So maybe
Yeah.
that's. I mean, why February 14th? I don't know. That doesn't really make sense. But
the
I guess
tinfoil
everybody
hat
knows.
theory I've seen from some people is to, even though it's not their movie, it's because Madam Web was getting so much bad press that they just wanted to get some good Marvel stuff out there because people
I don't
associate the
believe
two.
that at all.
I don't fully
I don't
believe
subscribe.
that. I think if it was like they had a movie come out and it bombed, then I'd say like, okay, this is why they're gonna.
Yeah.
But I can't also give you an answer to why this happened because then I'm with other people where I thought this was. People said, oh, for a joke, they should reveal it during the Deadpool trailer. I'm like, oh, they won't do that. Now I'm kind of like, they should have just done that. They paid off for all that money. I think that would have been something cool to reveal to like the Super Bowl that's watched by 134 million of like, hey, and Fantastic Four is coming. Here's your
Maybe-
cast.
maybe
You know.
that is still the idea though. Of like that trailer I saw is like the most viewed trailer of all time by some metric.
Yeah, it's kind of a cheat. Yeah.
Well, either way, it's still
Yep.
huge, and
It
so
did good.
maybe that's
Yeah.
just what it is. Like Marvel's in the news right now. Like let's throw this
Capitalize.
in there, and there's an idea that it gets buried, but more so that like people are invested right now. So why not hit them with a 1-2 punch? So maybe that's what it is.
Makes
MCU's
sense.
back. You know,
back,
that sort of
baby.
yeah.
Things to like come on the horizon. Things to get excited for.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with all these. Vanessa Kirby was my Sue Storm pick from day one. So but I hope, as we just talked about Madam Web review, you know, Kirkland, day one for Julia Carpenter was Sydney Sweeney. That didn't work out well. My day one for Moon Knight was Oscar Isaac. And to me, that didn't work out the greatest. So maybe this is a fucking curse and we got to stop fan casting the people we want because it just
Don't
doesn't
talk
work
about
out.
curses
But
right now, Travis.
yeah, yeah, I don't. I've been cursed. I
How
keep
is he
seeing my
cursed?
death.
Powers?
Yeah.
They have powers?
I keep talking and it doesn't line up with my lips. So
The worst
hopefully,
curse for a podcast.
oh yeah, there's
Especially
something wrong with your
online,
editing. Yeah. So hopefully, I think she'll do great. Especially the rumor of her being the main character. That's great. The thing to me doesn't matter really. To me, it's like I'm with Clay on this one, where it doesn't matter who you cast. It's just the thing. granted, we did nominate Bradley Cooper as Rocket for Best MCU Actor, so it can matter, right? You can still give a good performance with just your voice, so I hope that copies here. But most of the time,
spectrum, right? Like Rocket to like Groot is pretty much the
yes.
spectrum of like how meaningful that voice performance actually is.
And that's, to me, what is it for this guy? Is it like, oh, there's something good here? Or is it like, it's a good check for doing a voice? I don't know. I just started watching The Bear. I really enjoy that, and he's probably my favorite character in that, so I'm excited.
Do you think he's
Also
doing
liked him
mocap,
Punisher.
or is he just the voice?
That's the tough thing, because I think he's, not to be mean, a low enough star that I could... Well, I actually, no, it's not going to be mean. Mark Ruffalo does mocap sometimes, so... I bet there'll be some mocap. Yeah, I think so. Maybe not all, but I bet some. So that would make sense. And then Pedro Pascal, of anybody that either doubts him or says we're getting overexposed. One, like I'm not getting that feeling, and he's also, a lot of the things he's in are in smaller roles, are not the main character. And two, like for me, what I've read from Reed Richards, like I said before, I feel like Pedro can do that just because he's a great actor. I feel like him and Joseph Quinn, which I feel like people are kind of backdoor, like those are the two that people are like, I'm not sure about that. I'm sure in 5 years or whenever this happens, people will go back and be like, oh no, these are actually great guys. Because with Joseph Quinn, he was great in Stranger Things, and I just feel like he's had, like, because he got really popular off that, I feel like there's been a pushback on him because like he became so popular. It's like, well, I don't want him in this, I don't want him in this. It's like, we've really only seen him, and myself personally, only in Stranger Things, and he was great in that. So it's kind of like I've not seen anything to doubt him. I think backdoor people are just trying to say like he's not good looking enough to be Johnny Storm or charismatic, which I kind of disagree, because one, like if you're charismatic enough, you can elude that, and two, I get it, because like you have Chris Evans and you have Michael B. Jordan and you have Joseph Quinn, who's not like the same like GQ model look, but I don't know. Is this the same thing with him and Tom Holland? They're 3 years apart. Like they could be friends like they are in the comics. I just go by, are they good actors? Yes, then I'm happy with that. So these are all 4 great actors. So the last question I wanted to ask you. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say with Pedro too. I feel like he's in, like, how old is he? He's like 48 or something. He's in his late 40s.
Yeah, he's 12 years older than Kirby. Yeah.
So like if this comes out, like you said, like with the next 5 years, like if they want to do any more future projects with him, like they gotta strike while the iron's hot. He's only got so much time on his
Wow.
on his primeness of his career.
Deathbed here.
He's gonna be a grandpa here pretty soon. We can't have Grandpa Reed Richards. Well, I guess you can. And
Yeah.
it depends what story you want to go with, but nonetheless, I like the cast.
And then I was going to ask you this quickly, and I think I might do a bigger breakdown like Trask told you, but we were talking about this in Discord. So this is now July 25th. This is 2 weeks after, which really I think it goes Superman, if Jurassic World comes out, Jurassic World, and then Fantastic Four. But the bigger one being, you know, it's DC's first superhero versus Marvel's first family. Do you think that impacts either one? And just a quick off the hop, because this was the discussion, join the Discord, that's the link. What do you think has the overall better performance when all said and done? Not opening weekend, just like the long legs. Shout out to the Long Legs movie.
Man, we're in a different world now, post Barbenheimer, where sometimes you just fucking jam shit next to each other if they have some weird delineation. Like, you know, it could just be the super fantastic. That's what we could call it, where there's like this the summer of these like big blockbusters and people go see all of them. I don't know. I don't think I'm worried about it for anyone in particular. If anything, I think it might be high tide rises all boats sort of situation. Of course, it could go the opposite way. We'll see. But
yeah, they just both suck. Yeah. And then it's over.
I wonder what the quality will be of those 2 projects that come before it in the calendar year.
Yes, that's a big thing.
Those aren't very good, and we continue that Marvel bad streak. Deadpool, it seems like it might be something that floats above. But if those are bad, which I really hope those 2. I mean, I said this, but I wanted Quantumania to be great and all that. But if those 2 are bad, maybe that affects it. But I think that affects it more than its proximity to Superman would be my guess. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think if anything, it'll just boost the 2 of them. I think if I have to put my chips on one or the other, I would say probably Superman, just because of recent Fantastic Four.
Yeah, and Superman, new,
projects.
hot, fresh, like start of a new universe reboot. It kind of has that like new car smell of like, oh, what's this?
Yeah.
Where even though it's the F4 and it's new actors, it's still like it's going to be the 48th movie of the saga known as MCU, right?
And I also feel like because Superman is just like one of those mains on like the Mount Rushmore of DC, like there's just some, like we've had We've had a handful already, like just in our lifetime of like reboots of the Superman franchise, and it just still seems like there is big buzz. I don't know numbers, obviously, top of my head for like what
get,
those
like,
those
Man of
remakes
Steel.
did, but it just seems whenever there's like a new Superman tale coming out, there is just some buzz, just buzzing around.
Man of Steel, I saw the budget. I'm like, made 225 million. I'm like, I whatever Superman Returns didn't do that well, but this did 668 million, which I don't think any Fantastic Four has gotten anywhere. Like, I'll
What
look
year
at
was that again?
That was 10 years ago now, the Cavill
years
one.
ago.
So it's very much like the Batman, where I know people, when that came out, you're like, oh my God, another Batman movie. But at
Yeah.
that point, it's like, it's been over a decade since a solo Batman movie. And at this point for Superman, that will be over 10, it'll be 11 years since there's been a solo Superman,
Yeah.
which I know people say, oh, Justice League, this, that. But there's still, to me, a difference of Cavill being in a movie for an appearance versus this movie is about Superman. And like, look at Fantastic Four, that first one in 2005 made 333 million. That's in that Spider-Man
crazy.
era. So it's like, that's why I just go to Superman a bit, just because I still feel like Fantastic Four is a bit of the nerd raising up, where people always go, oh, it's Marvel's first family, it's so important. But it's like, I think a lot of people, including myself, not that I don't give a shit about Fantastic Four, but it's lower. But my counter is Superman Legacy is like quite a bit of a newer cast. I feel like even Superman himself is like a new actor, right? Where Pedro's established, Kirby's getting more established. People love Joseph Quinn, Stranger Things. He's going to be in Quiet Place. But then the same point, like I was saying to Mike in the Discord, where if you ask me who's going to make a better movie between the guy who did WandaVision and the guy who did the Three Guardians, it's like, well, then my money is on James Gunn, you know? So that's where, and I think like Dylan brought up, I won't be able to call it till it's quick, like sooner, because if Cap and Thunderbolts are disappointing, then I feel like that does set F4 off, unless it gets delayed, because this could easily get delayed till November and take the Blade slot, right? But if those projects suck, I think it's kind of like what happened with Ant-Man and Secret Invasion, where people are just like, Deadpool can be the comeback, but then right away it's like, do they just show up for those big ones? Deadpool, Avengers, Spider-Man again, right? And we don't know that. We like same thing with even Thunderbolts and Cat 4. They could be good, but what if they still bomb too, right? What if people are like, I don't care about Thunderbolts. Like, this isn't Deadpool, this isn't Hugh Jackman, you know, and Pedro's a big star, like bigger star, but I don't know if he's big, like he's that level where it's gonna for sure be a hit. But then also Superman,
Yeah.
maybe people are like, maybe people are done with Superman, right? There's always that argument of like, this past 10 years, is he still like an A tier? I still think so, but is he an A tier? And I think it's really interesting that they're that close, because I think they both have, they're not guaranteed hits, and they're both kind of the start of something new, where it's the start of the DCU, and like everyone says like, you got to get Fantastic Four right this time. Like,
Yeah.
this is your last chance. So they kind of both can't really fail, which is like going to be a fun time that month. So
I feel like the Batman's success too kind of makes me just, I don't know, think more optimistically on the Superman release. It's just with how popular that was and how successful that hit. I think that maybe people will also just have that in the back of their mind, and seeing this as like a fresh start for another big head honcho of the DC name. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
also I don't know. I think James Gunn's definitely more of a name within like the geek culture stuff, but like the Three Guardians movies, even in an MCU era where things are looking rough, like Guardians 3 still did really solid, and like critically, like everyone kind of loves these movies or enjoys them at the very least. So I just don't know if he's that name of a director where
No.
people are all over him in that, but I'm sure his stock is rising too as time goes on. So I think for a lot of people that might even not be DC people, they might be like, man, I love the Guardians movies. I should go see this guy's take on, and obviously trailers could change this too in terms of what the tone of it is and how jokey or how serious it is. But yeah, I don't know.
I love Slither. People are going to be coming out for.
from the director of Slither and Super, yeah.
what it's-
No, Mike said the same.
Scooby-Doo,
Yeah, Mike said the same thing to you, as you did. And I'm not saying I think he's like a Nolan. I just think more in the sense of like, okay, if one film ends up being better and gets talked about, I could see Superman being like the, if you can only see one, what's a person going to say? Like, oh, see Superman, because MCU. Who knows? Because like I loved WandaVision, but it still had issues and it could still have connective stuff. And I like it being the 60s, but I also don't know if I need another story of, oh, these superheroes you didn't know were around were doing these things, but they were gone for a while. And now they're, like they're like, we got that Captain Marvel, we got that Captain America. I think there's another one in there. Like we don't need the rinse repeat of the same plot point. That's why I'm actually kind of hoping those rumors of they're in an alternate timeline completely and they end up in our sacred time. That's fun. Because not only are you 60s to current day, 60s to like current day, and this is a different Tony Stark, this is a different Captain America, like that I think is more intriguing than just the, we've seen the whole, oh what, there's, you have toasters now, you have like I don't need the whole, you have HDTV TV, yeah, there's yeah Spider-Man, yeah.
There's spider people in the Peruvian jungle.
Yeah. Okay, in our universe, they're everywhere. A whole island of them, Peter. Anyways, let's get out of here. We'll talk about that more in the coming weeks when more news comes out. We'll get Taylor's take on it too at some point. Let us know what you think. That's why you join the Discord. Let us know. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's just this little mini 0.5 episode. Listen to that Madam Rib review. And check out Halo. That's coming up this week. And I promise you, when you hear that, definitely will not be boring.
Bye-bye.
Bye.